Hey, good morning. This is the Sporting Tribune Report. I'm Alysha. This is my co-host Fredo, and we're here to bring you today's headlines throughout Southern California sports. We've got to start with the Dodgers, Fredo. The Dodgers.
Yes.
It's a season full of surprises. They're not supposed to be here. What a win, that walk-off, thanks to Max Muncy. Tell me about last night.
I mean, it was an incredible night at Dodger Stadium, of course. Also looking at Miguel Cabrera, giving him his shout out, his flowers for his amazing career that he's had in baseball. And of course, this is his farewell tour. And this is his last season of his career. He got an opportunity to say goodbye to the city of Los Angeles. And, thankfully, the LA Dodgers were able to walk off with this win because Max Muncy came clutch in the bottom of the ninth with, I believe it was 1 out still, because it was up to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts got that inning started in the ninth inning, getting on base and then stealing that base. But what a throw, what a finish as well. At the end, the throw that came to home, and Mookie barely made a save. But thankfully, they did get another win.
You're right. Thankfully, Dodger fans were treated to that walk-off. And it's so unlikely this team, with their starting rotation decimated throughout the season, we've got another youngster, Pepio, coming through six
Yes.
innings, allowing only 1 run. You said it yourself, what an emotional game with Cabrera's farewell tour, with Pepio coming in, with Brewstar Gratterall. I mean, having his mother there that he's not seen in over 7 years.
Yes.
I mean, he broke down crying after he threw another scoreless eighth inning. I mean, just so many headlines in one game. So we've got a little bit of the season left, and the way the National League wild card is presenting itself today, what's going to happen? What's going to go down? Can Dodger fans really believe that the Dodgers could take it all this season?
It's a tough pill to swallow right there because the way the season started, you didn't really expect much from the team. But then 3 months into the season, you're like, okay, well, this team seems like they got something going on, especially the month of August. The month of August just seemed like the Dodgers were unbeatable at one point. But then the injuries started coming by, and, things started crippling down through with the roster. Now you're kind of realizing, like, okay, well, do they really have a chance with this starting rotation? Because starting pitching at the end of the day, that's what wins you games in the playoffs. You got to have some great pitchers that at least are going to keep you in games. There's certain pitchers that are going to maybe give up 4, 5, 6 runs. That's not going to help a team stay within a game, especially in the playoffs. But like the young guys, Bobby Miller, Pipiet, there's some of these guys that might be able to hold down the floor for the Dodgers and hopefully make some noise in the playoffs. But the Atlanta Braves, we got a chance to see what the Braves did to the Dodgers when they came down here for 4 games, taking 3 out of 4. But hopefully in the playoffs, things are different.
You're right. You said it right there. Playoffs, different. It's who's hot, who's got momentum, who has less
Mhm.
injuries. And can you believe Clayton Kershaw is the last one standing from that starting rotation from the beginning of the year? So this is exciting. Can't wait to get into October. I'm going to try to pace myself as a Dodger fan and as a reporter on the Sporting Tribune to just take each game slowly, right? We're going to get there. They've already clinched
Yes.
the West. Let's just see what comes, because the Braves just lost 4 out of their last 5. The Cubs
Woo.
are falling apart. The Phillies, I mean, we don't know who the Dodgers are going to face. It's crazy. So let's briefly bring up the other team in Southern California, the Angels. Not a whole lot of good news out of there, except Shohei Ohtani had his elbow surgery yesterday, and it was successful, right?
Yes, yes, he's definitely not going to be pitching until another year or and a half or so. He won't be pitching until 2025. He will be hitting, of course, which he's a great hitter. A lot of people forget that, how like you can be so good at one thing, but doesn't mean you're going to be great at another. And Shohei just makes things look so easy out there. He's great in hitting and he's great in pitching. So it's like, yes, we're grateful to get both sides from him, but at least to get one side of him, it's still special enough. And I'm wondering how free agency is going to go for him. Like the amount of money, of course, the amount of money we're talking about was 700 million, maybe a little close to 800 because he was doing both. But after his surgery, you
Right.
really can't invest. Maybe I don't even think he will get over 500. I mean, I wouldn't invest in someone like that, especially with the Tommy John surgery and stuff like that. I don't think he will be getting over 500. I know he'll be getting good chunk of money,
But yeah.
but I don't know from who. I don't know if the Dodgers are still interested in him, which they should because he can still hit the ball about 40 home runs every year. But
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to see what his free agency is going to look like.
I am looking forward to it too. I mean, you can even bet on whether he's going to get over five of that seven that was thrown around, 700 million before he got
Right.
hurt, like you mentioned. I'm interested to see. I don't know if the Dodgers are going to allow Otani to do both. So there are some teams that are like, yeah, we'll pay you, but you're going to have to focus on one or the other. So maybe he stays an Angel. Maybe the Angels, because he brings in an extra, what, 20 to 30 million just showing up, whether he pitches and hits or just pitches or just hits. So that's pretty crazy. We're going to keep an eye on that as well. Now we've got to talk some NFL. Things
Yes.
are not working out for some teams. Other teams, super surprising. Just here in Southern California alone, Rams getting their fans their hopes up by winning that first game. They were supposed to lose to the Niners. And here they are. They still had a really promising game, right? They didn't get shut out per se. So
No.
tell me a little bit about the Rams and their first home game at SoFi versus their rival.
Well, it really didn't seem like their first home game at SoFi because the 49ers really took over SoFi Stadium. I
Uh,
mean, there was a lot of red in that stadium. I spoke to one person that was at the game and they mentioned, look, I'm not exaggerating, but it was at least 85-15 in there, 85% 49er fans. But overall, the Rams were able to compete. I mean, at one point, I believe they were up, and they did lose by a score thanks to Sean McVay kicking that field goal at the end, which kind of a lot of sports bettors were upset because
right.
the line was a 7.5, and for some of the people out there that don't know that, means that you got to win by 8 points or more to cover. And McVay was down 10 with a few seconds left. He decided to kick a field goal, make it down by 7. So a lot of bettors were unhappy with Sean McVay. But Sean McVay, I'm not sure if that was something that was on his mind or he was just trying to get more extra points on the board. But at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford still kind of looks like he got something left in the tank. But the 49ers really look so good. I mean, I picked starting the season off. I picked the 49ers to make it to the Super Bowl, maybe not win it, depending on how it looks on the AFC. But the way this team is stacked up on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball, they're looking pretty good and pretty like Brock
Purdy.
Purdy.
You said it. I was waiting for it. Purdy good. And when we spoke last about the upcoming game, the Rams versus the Niners, I mentioned that the few times I've been to SoFi to see those matchups, because as a lifelong fan, you just cannot cheer for Bay Area teams. It really is a sea of red, and it's super annoying as a Ram fan. So just putting it out there. So yeah, at least they didn't get shut out. McVay kept it close, upsetting betting fans. But we do also have the bright star of the season, the rookie Puka. So
Yes.
congratulations to him. He's having a great start, and like I said, my mom is demanding his jersey now. So good.
Oh, gotta go pick it up.
We are going to talk a little Chargers. What is going on? You've been with the Chargers since the beginning of the preseason. You've been at practices. You've been at home games. What is happening with the 0-2 start from the Los Angeles Chargers?
You know what? Right now, it's like I really want to talk to Charger fans and let them know that the season will be okay. But there is a problem with the coaching. I mean, it's upsetting to see that a coach at times cannot get his troops together. I mean, there is moments in a game where these last three games. I really want to talk about these last three games, even though there's only been two this season. But we got to go back to January against that Jacksonville game because he was asked after this loss in Tennessee. He was asked by a few reporters about the Jacksonville loss, and he got very upset. It got him irritated, and he seemed like he kind of snapped. at some of the reporters. He's like, look, I'm not worried about Jacksonville. He's like, that Jacksonville's out of the picture. He's like, my team is focused on this and that. But it's like, okay, those 3 games, you're 0-3. Justin Herbert, check this out. Justin Herbert has had amazing, terrific numbers, off the chain numbers, no interceptions thrown in the last 3 games, record breaking yards thrown. And he's 0-3 in those 3 starts. So when you have your quarterback who is performing out of this earth and he still cannot pick up a win, yes, you can put the blame on the defensive players and on the defensive plays, but at the end of the day, it lands on the coach. Coaching matters. I do not understand why you run certain plays where you know you're not going to be successful. You got to run the ball. There is times that when things are working, meaning the run game is working, you go with the run game. When you know you can pick up 4, 5, 6 yards every possession, that's the go-to move right there. When you realize that the rush defense on the other side cannot stop the run. And when you know that the quarterback, even though you have a great quarterback, but they're not completing the passes. Like the Chargers were 2 for 14 on third downs, 2 for 14 on third downs in this past Sunday game. You are not going to win a game throwing the ball like that. And on third downs, Justin Herbert got sacked 3 times on third down. And those were the only 3 sacks that were given by the Chargers offensive line. But it lets you know this, like, when it comes to crunch time, those third downs, that's where you got to convert. The good teams convert, the other teams don't. And that's where you just don't have that much success. But, I mentioned this yesterday on the Arash Markazi show as I was on there on 1090 on the Mightier. And I mentioned it. I said this. I'm like, you know what? If the Chargers lose in Minnesota this Sunday and have an 0-3 start, I don't see Brandon Staley getting back on that plane back to Los Angeles. I just cannot see that. This is different type of pressure for the Chargers. This is not the San Diego Chargers anymore. You cannot run this organization like if you're still in San Diego. You're in Los Angeles. And I cannot wait to see what happens after this Sunday's game, because the following game is going to be the crazier one. It's going to be, if the Chargers are 0-3, they got the Raiders here at SoFi Stadium, and that is not going to be a Chargers home game.
Yeah, coach has got to feel like he's on that hot seat, right? I thought he would be on the hot seat last season. You keep bringing up that he has this pattern of the coaching messing up games that these, Herbert and his Chargers should be winning. So we would definitely have to stay on top of that. When you mentioned that you don't think coach is going to be flying back if the Chargers lose in Minnesota, you're giving me flashbacks of USC leaving Lane Kiffin on the tarmac. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. So yeah, we'll definitely. You're calling it a must-win then.
It has to be. You cannot start this season with coming in with the 6th best odds to win the Super Bowl. The defense is stacked up, the offense is stacked up, and you cannot be 0-3. And especially when your offense is clicking and just the defensive side of the ball is not, which is Brandon Staley's responsibility there, because he takes care of the defense. So that got to be cleaned up. And, they've been up in these past 3 games. They've been up. They've been leading the games. So it's like that meltdown, that Chargers, like they charged this game up. It's like that's the Charger situation there.
Yeah, long time and friend of the show, Eric Dickerson, longtime Ram, Hall of Famer, he mentions often how the Chargers just do Chargers things. They just find a way to lose. So coach has got to find a way to win, man. He's got to find a way to win. So hopefully they get it together for Chargers fans this weekend in Minnesota. Want to bring up USC playing like Southern California's pro team as well. USC, we're looking really good. They've got the numbers, they've got the talent, they've got the steam, the momentum of being another great team, another great season for their quarterback, potentially another Heisman Trophy. This weekend, tell me about this upcoming match and why USC is favored by what? How many points again?
33 and a half. 33 and a half. USC is favored again. And this is their 4th game of the season so far, and this is the 3rd game that they've been favored by 30 plus points. The 2nd game of the season, they were favored by 28 and a half. And that was the only game that was under 30. But besides that, it just lets you know how explosive this offense is for
Right.
USC right now. I mean, Caleb Williams, watching him distribute the ball, not just to one, not just to two, not to three, not to four, but to 5+ players all around the game. Like,
Yes.
I believe there's been over 13 receivers that have caught a completion pass from Caleb Williams all
Mhm.
season long. So it's like he's getting everyone involved. And if you lose one wide receiver, this is the best part about USC, how great they're built. You lose one guy, you got other guys that can really step up, and it's gonna be like no one ever. It's not going to say like we don't miss this other guy, but it's like he's not going to be needed. We got so many weapons out there, so it's
Mhm.
like as long as Caleb Williams can stay healthy, and it seems like he is, and we are going to keep our fingers crossed. But he's definitely going to win another Heisman Trophy. That's no
Right.
question about that, because his performance level is off the roof. Like nobody else right now in college football is performing like Caleb Williams, and especially with the amount of quarters he's played, he doesn't even complete the games. That's how good he is.
Oh,
He has large leads that it's like, okay, Caleb, go sit down, go in the locker room, go on your phone, go
yeah.
get some more NIL deals or something like that. Go shoot some more Wendy's commercials while the game's still going on. But I mean, Caleb is just tremendous, man. He's amazing.
You called it. You called it. Just we want everybody to stay healthy. Let's see what the Trojans are capable of. Like you said, over 30 points. They are favored over Arizona State this weekend. I want to stay focused on this game, but I can't help but bring up the following game just real quick
Yes.
because I'm staying on top of that. I've been fortunate enough to see USC play in Boulder. It's a great college town. It's a wonderful game to get to. If you have a ticket and you're a Trojan fan, lucky you, because I've just been staying on top of these prices. Fredo, the prices to see USC, Caleb Williams, head to Boulder and face Coach Prime and his son, who's doing wonderful. Their quarterback is killing it with numbers as well. Um, Over $500 for just a regular seat. A
Wow.
regular top level seat, $500 a ticket. This is
Wow.
truly prime time college football. That's
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a 9 a.m. kickoff start
Yes.
in Los Angeles. So it's going to be an early morning. I wonder how or where these USC parties, events are going to be at out here in Los Angeles, because everyone's going to be up and going by 6 a.m. I guarantee that.
Right, right. Oh, that's one thing USC is good at is tailgating. I mean, I've heard. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. It's always fun to talk headlines. We've got a lot to look forward to the rest of the week. So make sure you check in with us every morning. This is the Sporting Tribune Report. And please share, tell a friend, follow us, like, subscribe, all the goodies at all the usual suspects where you get your podcast and where you watch your YouTubes. Thank you, Fredo. Have a good one.
You guys